All right, today we're going to break down a really powerful way of looking at our relationships. All of them, from work to our personal lives. It's a framework that helps explain something we've all felt, why some connections just feel right, and others, well, not so much.
You know the feeling, right? You hang out with one person and you walk away feeling totally charged up, like your battery is full. Then you spend time with someone else and you feel completely wiped out. There's a reason for that, a dynamic happening under the surface, and that is exactly what we're going to get into today.
So let's start with the problem. This framework gives a name to that draining feeling. It's called a validation bond, and it's that kind of relationship that might have started off great, but now it just kind of feels like work.
So what exactly is a validation bond? Well, here's the key. It's what happens when a relationship stops being about a conscious choice to connect and instead becomes about unspoken, unconscious expectations. You suddenly feel like you have to perform a certain way to keep the peace, to keep the connection going. And that performance, that is what's so exhausting.
And here's why it feels so fundamentally draining. You're not actually connecting from a place of safety and trust. Instead, your nervous system is basically in a low-level survival mode. It's constantly on alert, trying to figure out if you're meeting those hidden expectations. It's a state of stress, not a state of real connection.
Okay, so if these validation bonds are the problem, what's the answer? Well, it's about a huge shift in how we approach our connections. It's about moving away from that whole world of expectation and into a world of clear, conscious intention. Let's talk about the alternative, alignment bonds.
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at the difference. On one side, you've got unconscious expectation. On the other, conscious intention. You trade performance and drain for reciprocity and sustainability. And, maybe the most important part, you stop operating from those old survival patterns and instead operate from a place of your own autonomy and agency.
Now, here is the absolute game changer. Building these healthier alignment bonds isn't about trying to fix or change the other person. The source material calls it a top-down approach, which really just means it starts with you. It all begins with building a rock-solid foundation within yourself first.
So how do you actually do that? Well, this framework gives us a super practical tool. It's called the connection pyramid. Think of it as a simple 3-level guide for building these amazing, sustainable relationships right from the ground up.
So here's the roadmap. These are the 3 levels we're going to walk through. It all kicks off with self-alignment at the base. From there, you build up to shared intention. And the peak, the ultimate goal, is a state of shared flow. Let's break each of these down. First up, the foundation. And honestly, this is everything. The framework makes it super clear that this is the absolute non-negotiable starting point. It's about getting right with yourself first. It's about building a connection to yourself that comes from a place of strength and wholeness, from what the source calls the bottom of the self, instead of from a place of insecurity or trying to fix old wounds.
So what does that strong foundation actually look like? Well, it's made up of these 3 core components. Autonomy, which is your ability to be your own person. Inner coherence, which is when your thoughts, feelings, and actions all line up. And agency, which is knowing you have the power to make your own choices.
Okay, let's head up to that next level of the pyramid. See, once you have that solid foundation of knowing yourself, then you're ready to build the next layer with someone else, shared intention. This is where you take all that internal clarity and bring it out into the open through really clear communication and making conscious choices together. And man, this quote right here, this is basically the heart of the entire idea. Let it sink in. Connection not anchored in shared intention will default to unspoken expectation. If you're not actively and consciously creating a shared purpose for the relationship, it's just going to slide right back into that draining mess of unspoken rules. It's the default setting we have to choose to override.
So you've done the work. You've built that foundation of self-alignment. You've created a layer of shared intention. So what happens now? What's the payoff? This is what brings us to the very top of the pyramid.
The peak of the pyramid is a state called shared flow. And this is that feeling we're all after, isn't it? It's that magical place where the connection just feels effortless. It's where giving and receiving are in perfect balance, where you can be fully yourself and be intimately connected, and it all just works. And when a relationship hits that state of flow, this is what you get. You get real reciprocity, where the energy flows freely back and forth. You get synergy, where the two of you together are way better than the sum of your parts. And you get expansion. The relationship actually helps both of you grow into bigger, better versions of yourselves.
instead of making you feel small.
So the big takeaway here is that this whole model is not about losing yourself in a relationship. It's the exact opposite. It's a way to fiercely protect your own autonomy and your own agency, while also creating the kind of deep safety and trust that allows for real, sustainable connection and growth.
And that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. As you go about your day, just let this question roll around in your mind. Think about the most important people in your life. Are those connections built on the solid ground of alignment? Or are they secretly running on that draining treadmill of unspoken expectation? The answer, well, it could change everything.